Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lipstick Chat with Ebony Fox. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. The last time we met, I talked about finally being free and the few little incidents I ran into um, once I left and how I felt. I remember sleeping a lot. I mean, for the first couple of weeks in my new spot, I just slept. I think it was all about finally getting to some peace or um, not feeling the same anxiety or feeling as if I were walking on eggshells. I slept for 8, 9, and 10 hours. I went to bed at night and I woke up in the morning, and was still tired. I was preparing. I was preparing for what narcissists do next once you've left. How they slander your name and create a narrative that is completely untrue. And I was trying to figure out how to handle that. Do I tell people that's not true? Do I go through the whole rebuttal process, or do I just move on with my life? And I decided I would just move on with my life. If you think about it, this person who planned my departure had started telling his friends negative things about me behind my back, so that when I left, to them it was just a matter of time because he had prepared people based on what he was telling them, how I was unfit to be his wife, or how I was controlling. I'm not going to say I wasn't a little controlling, because I probably was a little controlling, but I would have preferred he had the conversations with me regarding what he felt I needed to do or fix in a relationship versus people outside the marriage. And to this day, I still sit back and I think to myself, these people met me, they talked to me, they socialized with me. Did they not know who I am? Did they not realize, or did it not sound a little strange to them, some of the things that were being said? You often wonder who your real friends are. And I will say to you, in a time of need, you definitely find out who your friends are, because most of them turn their backs on me. You always hear that there are two sides to every story, and then there's the side in the middle, which is the truth. I don't think any of the people he talked to considered getting the truth. I don't think they cared. I think they were just all about the drama and the gossip, apparently. Anyway, I would hear little things. I would hear little things that he said and things that he told people. And it just got to a point where it just didn't matter, because I was now in a place of trying to figure out, who am I and how did I even get here? I felt lonely because I was retired and most of my friends were still working. Yes, most of my friends stood by my side. They were there for me. They helped me move. They helped me escape. They talked me through things. They were there for me when I needed someone to talk to. But eventually, they also had to go back to their lives. And I had to let them go. I had to sit down and figure out how to get me back. And how did I lose me? I thought about that day and night. I thought about that driving. I thought about that when I was at the gym. And I started piecing my life together. I started piecing parts of my life where I probably experienced similar things, but not to this degree. And I realized that in my relationship with the narcissist, I had developed a codependency. Yeah, it's like I didn't want to leave or lose him. But I can't tell you why I didn't, because he was not good to me. he was breadcrumbing. He just didn't really care about me. Let's just call it what it is. He didn't really care about me. And I don't know if that codependency stemmed and started from having abandonment issues. So let me say, in my relationships, I think in my relationships, every person that I was ever with cheated. And that made me sit back and think about the type of person that I was selecting to spend time with, to give my life to just open my heart to. And I then began to realize that when the Bible tells you to guard your heart, it has a deeper meaning than probably what most of us realize. I lost my last husband to cancer, and I didn't want him to die. But I think I didn't want him to die because I was codependent. I didn't want to be alone. And I wonder how many women in this life don't want to be alone, so they accept less than what God truly has for them. We always think we could make it better or we can fix that person, but I now know that that person should be already fixed when they come to you. You shouldn't have to try to fix them. If you have to try to fix a man, that's probably not the man for you. Just living in this life and putting up with some of the things that we put up with as women. And I'm not even going to say just women, because I am sure there are men out there that are putting up with things that they shouldn't put up with either. Some of the excuses we make for them. And where does abandonment issues and codependency come from? I started trying to figure that out. How did I get here? And I remembered that my father was in the military. And most of my life, my father was overseas. And my mother raised us. And I think that I always wanted a man in my life. But when your father's not around and there's no man in your life to talk to you, there's a lot of things that you don't learn about life. And there are a lot of things you don't learn about men. And I tell my girlfriends who are single, who have had kids and are divorced, please make sure your husband is in your child's life, or your ex is in their life, because we women, we think from the heart and men think from the head. And let me tell you, there's a lot that men can teach their daughters about what to look for in behavior traits that I never got because my father wasn't around. And I think to myself, was I so hyped up on having a man in my life because I never had a man in my life? Did I accept behavior because I didn't know any better, or because I thought that was the way to get a man, or that was the way to hold on to a man? I thought through a lot of things that I just wasn't told and I wasn't taught. And you know what? I can't even use that as an excuse, because here's the thing. I have a means to know, to learn, and it's called the Bible. And if you just read the Bible, it gives you each and every path that you should walk. It tells you what you should look for. It tells you what you should run from. It gives you all the insight to a good man or woman that any person needs. Eventually, during this time out, I learned that I was in the wilderness. I call it the wilderness because it seems as if God put me out here all alone, and I cried about it because I couldn't understand why there was no one to save me, because we're always looking for someone to save us. But now I understand that I was out there looking for a man, wanting a good man, and I didn't need to look for anything because everything was within me. God told me that I had him, but I went looking outside him for my happiness. I couldn't figure out what people meant by you have to make yourself happy first. I couldn't figure out what people meant by there are certain energies in this world and everything is energy, and how you attract what you put out. I couldn't understand about manifestation. And the reason I couldn't understand all these things was because I was too far from God. It's a very interesting phenomenon, but once I understood that I was out in the wilderness to learn how to be alone and to come to the realization that you're never really alone if you have God in your life. But first, you have to come to terms with how close you are to God. Are you in the world or are you of the world? And those were the lessons that I had to learn during this time period of self-reflection and learning to embrace the Lord. I had to learn that being married and having a man was not nearly as important as the peace that God intends for us to have in our life and how he intends for us to live. I had to learn that I needed to be one whole person before I could be a part of any relationship. I had to learn who I was first and then find out who God wanted me to be. And lastly, how to maintain that person that God intended for me to be. I want you all to like and subscribe, and I want you to continue to follow. There are so many lessons in my relationship that I learned. And I know that there are probably millions of other women out there, young women, who are out there seeking love from a man who's not loving them the way God intends for them to be loved. Please come back to Lipstick Chat with Ebony Fox in the Foxhole.